Hi, it's Carrie here at Get Your Vibe Right, and I just got off of a body code session with one of my clients, and one of the things that kept coming up for her in many different areas of her life was it's never enough. And we often feel this sensation of it's never enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm not showing up in the ways that other people expect me to. I'm not providing enough for the people around me or my clients or whatever it is. So this energy of it's never enough feels like we are not meeting expectations, right? But what we got around to with her was that the expectations that she's always stressing and worried about are actually her own, in meaning that she is setting expectations for herself that are incredibly high and then stressing out about not meeting them, or she is making up expectations in her mind that somebody else has. Maybe it's a client, maybe it's a partner, maybe it's a friend, and then she's beating herself up for not meeting those expectations, when in fact, she doesn't actually know if those are the expectations. She's just created that expectation in her mind, thinking that is what they want. So we did a little work around this, and I gave her some homework. And if you are also struggling with this idea of feeling like you're never enough, like you just can't get it right, you're always falling short of expectations, either yours or somebody else, in that you could try this too. And here's what I told her is that basically the measuring stick that she's using to measure expectations is internal to her. She's the one who's setting these very high expectations, and then she's suffering when she doesn't meet them, right? So I said, this is great because it means you're empowered to change them. It would be different if those expectations were outside of you and you had no control over them. But in these two cases, at least, you setting expectations for yourself that are incredibly high and feeling bad when you don't meet them, or you making up expectations for other people and feeling bad when you don't meet them, this is something you can control. So I gave her the task that over the next week, what I want you to do is anytime that you're feeling this, like, I'm not enoughness, check in and say, what is it that I'm feeling not enough about? Is it some expectation that I set on myself? Is it an expectation of somebody else that I made up in my head and I don't know for sure? And then you get to work with that. You get to change those expectations so that you can feel better about yourself. Now, of course, there are times when there are expectations outside of us that we don't have control over, that we still do need to meet to have an effective life, maybe a partnership, maybe a business relationship or whatever. So in those cases, I said, okay, if you decide that you have an expectation and it's very, very clear, and it's not something that you made up in your head, because if you made up in your head that you have to show up this way or do this thing for someone and they never actually said that, then first thing you need to do is check in with them and see if indeed, what are the expectations? What do you really want from me? What do you need from me? What do I need to provide? So that you can, the measuring stick is clear, and now you can meet those expectations or at least work within them, right? And if for some reason you are very, very clear on something and you're still stressing out about it, still causing you some anxiety, and it's not something that you can renegotiate or get clear on, then what you can do is look at other areas of your life and see where you can borrow energy to put into meeting that expectation, because the target isn't going to move. You can't move it. You didn't set it. You can't lower the bar. You can't redefine it based on somebody's true expectations. It is. So you are going to need energy to be from somewhere else in your life in order to meet that expectation. And this is probably temporary. You're not going to be borrowing that energy forever, but this will help you to have some kind of well to draw from so that you can meet the target and then move forward and, alleviate the stress by getting past that milestone and moving on to the next one. So I want you to take a look at your life. Where are you setting expectations that are too high for yourself? And what is your relationship with them? Are you setting expectations that just stress you out? Lower the bar. You are the measuring stick on that. You get to decide. So why don't you take the next week too and see what your relationship is with expectations and see if you can change them, clarify them, or borrow from somewhere else in your life so that you have the energy that you need to meet them.